Hey there, Cutie and Cosplay here with another video. For today's video, I wanted to talk about what could be Nintendo's next gimmick. Let's get into it. Alright, so today I want to talk about Nintendo's next generation console and what gimmicks would be fun to see, since, Nintendo usually does something different like for each of their systems, and I don't know, they hardly ever disappoint. I expect them to do something cool. So I have 5 ideas today that I think could be fun to see. However, even though I would like to see new, fun ways to experience gaming, I do think that Nintendo should have this new gimmick as a side piece that's optional and not the main focus, as I know there are people that they just want to play their games with a controller and nothing else, which is okay, so hopefully optional. So my first idea is 3D glasses or a VR display. This is one that I would probably want to see the most. I was a fan of the 3DS 3D, and I think it would be amazing to have something similar, but on the big screen. There is a YouTuber that made a video on this kind of technology back in the Wii era, so it can be done, and I would assume not very expensive. I will post a link to that video in my description if you want to check it out. But just thinking about that possibility is so exciting. Like, just imagine playing Mario, and when you come across a bullet bill, I can imagine how cool that would look, having that bullet bill look like it's coming for you and out of the TV, whoa. Or maybe even Star Fox having all those lasers just feeling like they're going over your head. That'd be crazy. That was an option that I did like back in the 3DS Vita time. It was nice being able to ask myself, do I want better graphics on the Vita, or do I want the 3D effect on the 3DS? Anyway, I'm a fan of 3D, and I'd like to see that again in gaming. Alright, next idea would be touchscreens. Okay, so hear me out on this one. We know the Switch is the best-selling Nintendo console, and there's tons of them out there. So what if the next-gen console has the ability to connect to the original Switch, and you can use it like a controller, so basically like Wii U? I mean, even just looking at them, they kind of look similar. It's not too far out there, I feel. And this would give the next-gen console some cool features like the ability to play DS and 3DS games on the Virtual Console service, since we would now have 2 screens again and touch capabilities. And for certain multiplayer games like Mario Party, we could see some really interesting minigames, especially if every player could have their own screen. And what if Nintendo released an app so anyone can use their phone as their screen instead? Since, maybe buying multiple Switches just for multiplayer would cost too much, you could have it like that. It'd be kind of neat. Something to consider. I do think that giving that Wii U idea another shot, but this time utilize it in fun multiplayer experiences, would be a great idea. Since I have said this before, but the Wii U had a lot of potential that was sadly wasted. And next up, enhanced motion controls. Now, we all know that the Switch does have some motion controls, but honestly, for it being a newer system, some games, they play worse with the Joy-Cons than a Wiimote, and one of the major problems I've noticed is the lack of a sensor bar. Games like Skyward Sword just don't feel as responsive as they should be because I keep needing to recalibrate the motion controls every hour or so, and games like rail shooters they don't feel as good versus the Wii. For example, I was playing Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles last week, and it feels great to play. It's a really fun game, feels good with the Wiimote. It's nice. But yeah, it's been almost 20 years since Wii came out, and we can do better than this little guy when it comes to motion controls, and maybe we could even see a resurgence of rail shooters because of that. I think that would be neat. You can do better than these little Joy-Cons, Nintendo. Alright, and next up, Kinect style cameras. So the original Kinect was a ton of fun, but I do feel like the technology and the cost at the time held it back from being something truly special. I think that Nintendo could innovate on the idea and have a really responsive camera that tracks movement perfectly, and on top of that they have tons of franchises that would work amazingly for Kinect style games. Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Mario Party, WarioWare. Oh, and they could even bring back the dancing genre that sadly died. And the only game series that is still going is the Just Dance series, which I don't think is very good. They did have a Mario Dance Dance game on GameCube that I used to own, and it was a lot of fun, and so I know that a Dance Central style game with Nintendo music that would be awesome. I will say though, out of all the gimmicks on this list, this one is probably the one that I would want the least, because I feel like there's only so much that you can do with the camera, but still, I think there's enough ideas here that it would make sense for Nintendo to have their own Kinect style camera. I'm sure they could do cool things with it. And my last idea, number 5, VR. Alright, so I do think this one has the potential to be a game changer. So obviously VR is not anything new. We have plenty of options from MetaQuest to PSVR to Steam VR even, but imagine if Nintendo had their own VR headset and had a Pokemon game on it. Just think about that for a moment. Being able to hold a real Pokeball in your hand and being able to pet Pikachu on the head and just actually feel like a real life Pokemon trainer. I could see that being like the next Pokemon Go. Remember how popular and big that was a decade ago? This would be that, but all over again. And then of course we have Mario Kart. That would be fantastic to play in VR. Metroid, being able to step into the shoes of Samus and feel like I am her, or pilot an R-Wing as Fox McCloud. I think there's just so much potential here. Other VR headsets they've been struggling a bit, but Nintendo, they have the franchises that I believe would really make a lot of people want to try VR. Anyway, I've talked about my thoughts on VR before, so I'll end it here, but I think that Nintendo VR is something that I would really love to see. Alright, and those were my 5 possible ideas for new gimmicks or another gaming experience, whatever you want to call them, that I think Nintendo might try in their next console, or at least that I think they could do something with. I will say that I am 99% sure that the next Switch that comes out is going to be the Switch, but faster and more powerful, and that's nice and all, but sometimes that alone is just not enough to get casuals to upgrade. I mean, just take PlayStation 5 and Xbox as an example. Those are just upgraded PS4s and Xbox Ones, and there's still so many people that have yet to upgrade because they just don't feel the need, just because it's more powerful. That's not a big enough motivator for everybody, especially if times are tough, So I do think it would be smart to have something extra that's optional, so that casuals can try it out for fun, and then hardcore gamers could still just have a more powerful Switch if that's what they want, and they can ignore the extra little gimmick that's been added. But yeah, those are 5 ideas that I just came up with, have been rattling around in my head. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think any of these are more likely than others, or do you have your own ideas that you think they'll try out? Anything like that, let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to see what everybody thinks about or what's going to happen with this next console. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and that I'll see you in the next video. Bye!